What's up, everybody? It's the Chill Scrub here, and today we're here to talk about King, one of the most renowned legacy characters of a AAA fighting game known as Tekken. A character that has a rich storyline that is a fan favorite by most. On the surface, King is marginalized to only being a grapple-focused character. Although his grappling is an essential part of his overall game plan, he has several tools in his arsenal to complement his throw game. Hopefully in this guide, I can help you improve your play with King and lend some insight and some overall strategy. Let's start off with a brief overview of the character. I personally think that King is an S-tier character in Tekken 7 and has been a consistent solid character throughout the Tekken franchise. King's game plan is versatile and can be played offensively and defensively. King's offensive strategy can be focused on two essential plans. One, constantly wearing down your opponent with high damage command throws that break a player's defense and forcing them into certain situations where they want to commit hard reads such as ducking, hop kicking, and other risk-adverse actions, leaving them open to devastating mids and counter-hit high situations. Another strategy is attempting to make your opponent fearful of ducking by hammering them with onslaughts of mids and potentially counter-hitting highs. Making them a standing target opens up your throw game, and that's where the nightmare really begins for most opponents. King's defensive options are solid too, with tools that can keep aggressive players out and punishing players for overcommitting with lethal counter hits that lead to high damage and massive Oki potential. To complement his decent movement and sidestepping, King has a handful of moves with built-in defense that end up low crushing and high crushing. Overall, King is a solid all-around character that has very few weaknesses. The only downside I can think of are his lows. Even though his lows aren't the greatest, his throws are tools that make people with faulty defense want to duck. King is a character that is hard to use because it requires a person to be balanced, offensively and defensively, to optimize his fullest potential. One of the few characters that heavily leans on your own fundamentals. I know, rare with characters like Katarina and so forth. People like Little Majin, Aris, Knee, and Ball Pro are great examples of players who are fundamentally sound that play King at the highest level. Although I can't promise you a quick fix to get to ranks like Tekken God Omega, and so forth, I know this guide can point you in the right direction. Alright guys, let's start off with some key moves. Most Tekken characters have a sizable move list and can be daunting to find a starting point, but the moves I'm about to mention I think are essential to unpacking the character King. Let's start off with Down Forward 2. Down Forward 2 is King's 13 frame mid that has a decent range and is +4 on hit and -6 on block. It is a safe mid that is good for keeping your opponent honest. Down Forward 2 has a weakness though. It can be sidestepped to the right, so use Down Forward 2 sparingly and mix in the jab and movement to realign with your opponent and stop them from stepping. Down Forward 2 also has an extension that is high and a counter hit launcher. This extension can be delayed to catch people who are eager to retaliate. Be cautious though, it is not a true block string and people who can duck it and launch if used too often. The next key move I have on the list is Forward 4, an 18 frame knockdown homing move that wall splats. There's nothing really bad I can say about the move. It has low crushing properties and is safe on block. It homes so it catches both left and right side steps. But be careful though, this move is -9 on block, which means when this move is blocked, your turn is officially over. So use it sparingly, and this is often good to catch people at the wall that want to sidestep or try to duck. The next move is Back 1. This move is arguably one of the best highs in the game, and one of the tools I use the most to punish overly aggressive players. Back 1 is +3 on hit and -8 on block. When the Back 1 lands on counter hit, it lands a crumple state, which leads into a launch. The downside to this move is that it can be stepped to the right, and the range isn't the best, but a great keep out tool and a solid 12 frame punisher that leaves you +5 if you finish the string. Forward 1 is one of my favorite tools to use with King. The startup for this move can be a bit slow, seeing as though it ranges from 22 to 24 frames, but it more than makes up for it. This move is absolutely amazing, with it being +14 on hit and -5 on block. And not to mention that it's a counter hit launcher. Forward 1 also gives a tailspin in combos, though the timing can be a bit tricky and is a bit advanced. Forward 1 is also a move that is -5 or below, so you can sidestep and bait out certain moves. But be careful though, if a person has to do a homing move and you loosely sidestep, you will be hit. Down Forward 1, one of King's trademark moves that goes all the way back to Tekken 1. Down Forward 1 was absolutely broken in older Tekken titles and has been tweaked to be fair. Down Forward 1 is an awesome mid that is +3 on hit and -1 on block. Down Forward 1 is a frame slower than Down Forward 2, but has a better range. Down Forward 1 suffers from the same problem that Down Forward 2 has. it can be sidewalk to the right. Down forward 1 has an extension. That makes it a mid string. Down forward 1, 2 is a natural string. So the second hit will always land. The only problem I have with this string is that it's -10 on block, which leaves you open to getting punished, or worse, knocked down by certain characters. Giant Swing, one of King's signature throws that has a startup of 10 to 16 frames. This throw is one of the most lethal throws in the game, as it does 65 damage when it's not teched and 45 when tech rolled. Giant Swing also does an additional 5 damage when it connects at the wall for 70 damage. Giant Swing is deceptive at first glance because it looks like a 1+2 throw animation, which causes a true 50-50 situation with all the 1+2 throw King has at his disposal. Giant Swing always switches sides when successful. This is a tool you should definitely use when your back is to the wall. This can change the momentum of a match and not only give you a positional advantage, you also get a knockdown and Oki potential. Shining Wizard, one of King's go-to throws that complement the Giant Swing. Shining Wizard is a 10 to 14 frame 1+2 throw that does 40 damage and leaves you in a good Oki situation. Shining Wizard is a running throw at beginner levels, but what makes the throw so dangerous is that it can be done instantly if you have a bit of execution. At higher levels, you can see the Shining Wizard and Giant Swing interchange in feints, making it a true 50-50. If you can master this instant Shining Wizard along with the Giant Swing, you are one step closer to making people break their controllers and send you hate mail. Congratulations. Alright guys, as we go ahead and conclude the key moves to part of the tutorial, I want to make sure I do this part with you guys. I want to make sure I go over it thoroughly. Key moves is just a brief explanation of what the moves I would typically use. I'm not saying I'll put everything in there, but those are the moves I would primarily use, and those moves I can honestly say, because I use them myself, will possibly get you definitely with fundamentals past the mighty ruler ranks and deep into the blue ranks. But let's go over more in detail of King, and let's dive into those pokes, because me personally, I think his poking game is one of the most fundamental tools that most King players don't underutilize, and that's the reason why their game suffers and they get hard stuck at certain ranks. So let's start off with the most basic tool of poking, the jab. King's jab is really good. Really good. It has really solid range, has good follow-ups. 1-2, 1-2-1 as a string. His 2 is pretty good. His 2 is good at poking. 2-1 is pretty much a solid string and a pretty solid poke. It's +7, it gives you good frame advantage. It's a high mid string, it's one of the things that I was talking about earlier, where you want to check the opponent to make sure they're not ducking. You want to keep them in place. So 1-2-1, it's really good. Ooh, my bad. 1-2-1 is -4, a good range to start off at as far as negative frames, because you can also move, backdash, duck, whatever you need to do to get out the way, or also use any kind of high crushing moves, or any as I call it, bullshit moves to get out of certain situations. So that's always good to use. Reset the situation. So another poking tool that you will be using often is like forward 3. Forward 3 is awesome, has good range. As you can see, he kind of moves into it with it. If you do get the hit, you can follow up with the DDT. 15 frames, relatively fast. Really solid overall tool. Getting the counter hit makes it easier to do the DDT. So when you're doing the regular forward 3, it has a bit of timing if you want to get that DDT. But when you're in a counter hit situation, you can essentially just mash it out. A move already is described already, down forward 1. One of the moves that you're going to be absolutely spamming with King, if you follow me already or if you subscribe to my channel, you already know that I spam down forward 1 religiously. Not only because the range is +3. Look at this range, it's fucking insane. 14 frames, +3, -1 on block, and it has a mid follow-up that's -10 on block, but you can stagger it. So it's a good string. You can stagger, see how they react to it. So it's a good mid string. But at the higher levels, you're probably just going to be using just down forward 1, the check, move, down forward 1, check, move, down forward 1, jab, things of that nature. Like just keeping it simple, keeping it compact, and keeping it safe. You want to be safe. You don't want to be stupid. You want to build a strong foundation with the character first. So that we already went over. Down 1-2-1, down 2-1, 1-2. Those are also good poking and good poking moves and good strings. Let's go over Let's go over a little bit over the lows. His down 3 is pretty solid. It's a good solid poke. Has a good range. +1, 17 frames, pretty fast. I will also go with down 4. Down 4 has a good range, 14 frames fast. It's 14 frames fast, and on top of that, it has the high crushing properties that we all love. So, a person does a jab or a high, you beat them out clean. Get a good poke, reset the situation, and you get a nice little chunky 7 damage. Down back 3 is something that I wouldn't advise using too much, even though I do spam it a little bit when I'm playing lower ranks. It's a good little poking tool, has a solid range. On counter hit it launches, so that's always good to do. Good chunk of damage. Forward neutral too is really good to do as well. It's a low. On counter hit it gives a good chunk of damage. It gives 53 damage, combo damage, and on top of that, on regular hit, it's does 15 damage. It's +1, so you can do your while standing 4. It becomes 10 frames, pretty fast, pretty solid. But be wary, the opponent can possibly move, but it leaves them in crouch. So notice how it leaves them in crouch, so they're in the crouch position. So 9 times out of 10, if they try to press a button, you are more than likely going to beat them out, right? So another good poking tool that's on the low side is down forward 4. It has a good chunk of range. It does 10 damage, a little bit more than down 4, but on top of that, it has an extension, so it's pretty solid. It has extension where you can go into a mid-low situation. As you can see, the mid is -15, so you want to be careful when doing that. Most of the time when you're using this, it's probably going to be at the wall to finish a combo. But if you're playing at lower levels, you can go ahead and throw this out every once in a while. You can throw it out at higher levels too, because a lot of higher levels, rather people want to admit it or not, they mash a lot of buttons, so you can catch them slipping with moves that you normally wouldn't. So, and the low option, of course, is it's -13. But if it does hit, it gives a knockdown, so it's always good to use. I wouldn't include back 1 as a poke. Well, back 1 by itself is good to throw out, fishing for that counter hit. It's a good thing. Also forward 4, but be wary, this move is -15. So if a person just happens to, no, it's the pushback though, but if a person just happens to have like a long range down forward 2, like let's say Noctis, you will get launched and you will get punished for it. So the better option will probably be forward 4-3. Not forward 4-3, but forward 3. Forward 4-1 is also good. +14 on hit. I already described this in my key moves guide. You can't get enough of that move. It's really solid, especially if you want to get in, and it leaves you at that sweet spot of -5, where you can still move around a little bit. You got to be a little bit more strict with your movements though, but the best option is probably just blocking after the fact, if it gets blocked. So most people are going to take their turn, so it's like it used to be -4, but it's -5 now. Forward neutral 1+2 is also a good move. It's +7, good plus frames, resets the situation, but on counter hit you get a guaranteed follow-up. So let's say it's something like this. 37 damage, not too bad, not too shabby, and you get a reset the situation. It's a little far, so you don't get any good Oki off of it, but it's also always good to throw out. Down forward 2, of course, always one of the greatest poking tools to use. 13 frames, +4 on hit. I believe it's -6 on block. So remember, turns over. You don't want to really gamble with moves after -5. It's a bit risky. But at the same time, you can still use your fundamental movement, little backdashes here and there, keep yourself relatively safe, or you can forward dash cancel to see what they're going to do, a little bit of intimidation there. But you can also use the string that follows up with the down forward too, as I explained in my key moves tutorial. You can delay it, you can do it instantly, or you can delay it, and we all know on counter hit it's guaranteed. So you get guaranteed damage off of that. Oops, sorry about that. And it's really solid, can't go wrong with it. I would use it often. Another good move I would probably use, it's not really most of a poking tool, but it's really solid. Throw it out there every once in a while once you set yourself up really well. It's the cross chop, the up back 1. This move is really good, 20 frames, and you get guaranteed follow-ups. And you can get some really nasty setups off of that. I'm not the one for that. This is just a overall guide to get you in the door and to make you an all-around better player. So you get guaranteed follows off of that. It's a homing move. I think it's 20 frames, pretty fast. Forward 4, as already explained in my key moves, pretty fast, -9, 18 frames, really solid. Can't go wrong with it. Ollie kicks is a good low, but again, -9 on hit, punchable on block, but it does have a follow-up string where you can go into a mid after each kick. But you want to be sparingly with it because it can get low parried, so you want to be want to be, because a lot of good players, they're going to fuzzy guard it, so it's not something you're going to be using often in high ranks, but they can fuzzy guard it and you will end up dying because the extension is -15. You're going to get launched, and you don't want that to happen. You want to keep it solid, you want to keep it safe. Another low is down back 4. It does a chunky amount of damage. This move is very tricky as it often low crushes and high crushes at the exact same time because it counts as an aerial move. And on top of that, his body is not able to get hit by lows because he's in the air. It's an awesome move, but it can be low parried and it's reactable. So a person that's on their game, that's paying attention to the match, they're going to low parry that and you're going to die for it. But it's also it's a good little chunky good move that gives a knockdown and it does a good chunk of damage. But it's -3, so you don't really get much off of the Oki. But it's pretty solid, so I would use it sparingly. Really good. Any other moves I can think off the top of my head? Not really. But definitely you want to stick with the 1-2-1, the 2-1, down 4-1 in this extension, the down 4-2 in this extension. Those are strings and pokes that are going to help you. The lows, 4-4-2, especially if you want to catch them on counter hit, it has that high crushing property. Down back 3 sparingly, and down 4 really good. And I would say down 4-4 is pretty good too because of the range, but it doesn't have any properties where it high crushes, so if a person just does a jab, you're going to lose out. But it's pretty fast, being it was 14 frames and it has a lot of range. So those are the poking tools that I would use personally, you know, to get you in the door. Now we're going to start going with this throw game. Now, let me get this disclaimer. When I talk about the throw game, I'm not going to go over every single multi-throw. I'm not going to go over rolling death cradle and King's Bridge and all this other. I'm not going to do all that. I'm going to go over effective throws that you can use in the game that they can't really break out of unless the initial break happens, right? So as I already stated with King, the most throws you're probably going to be using is definitely Giant Swing and Shining Wizard. Another throw to complement it, which if you don't need a full throw game, you want to use a Tombstone, you know, really good throw. Does a good chunk of damage. So let's go over the throws already. The reason why I started with poking first, because it leads into this. So poking, a lot of the throws I mentioned, like the Giant Swing, it starts off at 10 to 16 frames. It says 10 frames start up on the frame menu that we see right here. But if you watch any of my guides, you already know you have to count the input. Each input represents a frame. And so something that comes 10 frames become 16 frames. But how we get around this and make it a full 10 frame throw is by buffering. So like, let's say you do a jab, you buffer it, it becomes 10 frames. And it's hard to react to, right? But let's get a little bit more complicated with it and, you know, get an overall game plan with King. So let's say you hit a jab, you want to check with a down 4-1, or you want to check with a down 4-2 to see how they react to the initial pressure, you know, or you want to go with another jab. If you see that they're blocking, if you want to just keep the pressure on, you want to jab again. You can also use a low to check and then go for the jab and then check with mid. So I can't express this enough when you're playing with King, and this is the reason why a lot of people struggle with King. Oh, another great poking tool that I forgot to mention, and this is one of the best ones. I can't believe I forgot to mention, so I'm so sorry guys, is the forward 1+4. This move is so good, and at certain ranges it can become +8 as you just saw right there with one simple backdash, and on block is +3. This is an awesome mid. You should definitely be using this a lot. It's 17 frames fast. It's pretty fast, but can be beat out. You can use it in a lot of situations. So keep applying pressure and oppress your opponent. So going back to poking and transitioning to the throw game. So you know you want to let's say you land the jab, you want to go with a mid like forward 1+4. You know, keep them honest. You don't want them to be moving too much. +7. So if it does land, it is +7. If it doesn't land, it's +3. You can always check with the down 4-2 after it because it's going to be a 10 frame. It's going to be a 10 framer now. You want to keep them honest. You don't want them pressing a lot of buttons. And on top of that, you don't want them to duck a lot either. So with these things, you're keeping them honest. You're keeping them guessing. And then once you feel like they're not actually, you know, ducking a lot, you can actually start incorporating the throw. So let's say you start doing something like down 4-2 into a Taj 1 twister. Good damage, 50 damage. Or you do something like to a tombstone. Do it with a lot of things. Giant swing. You can be ballsy. You know, you can go like jab into a Shining Wizard. So these are the things on the buffering that I'm talking about, which makes King very, very, very scary. A lot of people say that his lows suck, and his lows aren't the best, but they definitely get you by. But the throws, you rather eat King's lows than his throws, because his throws do massive damage. And unlike all the other throws, unlike the giant swing, all those other throws is guaranteed damage. So it's with the Shining Wizard, my bad, it's a guaranteed 40 damage. There's no Tekken it, and it gives you in a good situation with Oki. So it leaves you at neutral for a good situation with Oki. With the Tombstone, it's a guaranteed 53, I believe, 58, guaranteed 58 damage. Huge chunky damage. With the moves like a Muscle Buster, guaranteed damage. Does 50, solid damage. Let's see, is there anyone that I'm forgetting right now? No, that's about it. Oh, Tadwan Twister. So solid damage, guaranteed. 50. You don't want to eat King's throws, but you want to set up his throws, because a lot of people, when they're fighting King, they tend to panic in the neutral, so they don't want to deal with the zero range with them jabbing at you down forward 1. There's a lot of games I won solely off of down forward 1 because they're so scared of the throw. Again, buffering again. They're so scared of the throw that they forget about all the great tools I have in my arsenal. Now, for beginners, I want to clarify this. Doing Shining Wizard from far ranges is okay, I guess, at lower ranges, lower ranks, but you kind of want to use this mid. Running 3, it's really good, or running 3+4, it's really good as well. These moves right here, they can help you mix up your game. The running 3+4, if a person likes to sidestep, it keeps you relatively safe, because he lands on the ground and you won't take much damage for it, so it's really good. The running 3 is good for people that don't sidestep, because it leaves you in a neutral position on block, and on hit you get a knockdown, so you don't really lose that much. It's a really good tool. Or you can run up forward 4. Again, it's an all-purpose mid, -9. It's a really good move. You should be using that a lot. So these are things that I want to talk about. And another thing I want to do, like I was saying earlier with telegraphing the Shining Wizard at lower levels, it's cool to telegraph it, but here's where the good tricky mix-up comes in. So let's say I can always do an instant Shining Wizard. Oops, no I can't. Jesus. There we go. So I can always do an instant Shining Wizard, right? That requires a lot of execution, but what I do personally is, and I showed you in one of the clips, I want to see if anybody was paying attention to it. I would dash, and then I would do a giant swing. So what I'm doing is using the dash to buffer in a throw. So I can dash buffer. Oops. I can dash buffer Tadwan Twister 2. I can dash buffer giant swing 1 throw. Or I can just go for the actual Shining Wizard. That's a high level thing to do. A lot of players are going to do that at higher ranks, and it's going to test to see if your throw game is good. And if you're a King player, you should definitely adopt this strategy immediately. If you haven't been doing this, I hope this gives you insight to use this, because it masks a lot of the inputs that you're going to be doing because of dash input. So that's one thing I will often tell people to do. You can also buffer from things like down forward, down back 3, but I really wouldn't suggest it, because most people are going to just probably backdash out of it once they get hit. Again, it's only +2 on block, +2 on hit, launch punishable on block, so you want to be careful with doing that. But 2-1 is perfect, because again, you're checking, and on top of that, you're +7, so you're buffering in already most of the input. And by the time the animation is over for 2-1, you get pretty much a tick throw. So like, it's a really Street Fighter-ish kind of thing with tick throws, but it's one of the things that I want people to use. So that goes with that throw game. That's pretty much what I want to talk about with throw game. Use your highs, your strong highs, your good mids, your good strings, your good poking strings, and some of your decent lows, not all of your lows, but some of your decent lows, to set yourself up to actually use the throws. I wouldn't tell people to use the multi-chain throws, because good opponents, they're going to break out of those, and you just missed out on a lot of damage. I mean, it's great if it works, but in most cases it won't work. So you want to make sure that you're getting that solid damage automatically. If they don't break the throw, they got to eat 50. If they don't break the throw, they got to eat 40. Or if they don't break the throw, they got to eat 58 with the Tombstone. You want to make sure they're eating heavy damage, and you want to put that fear in them to duck. So it works both ways. When they're scared of the throw, they duck. It opens up your mids. They don't want to duck. It opens up your throws. That's the 50-50 stand-up mix-up with King. So now that we got that out the way with the throws, I'm pretty sure you have a good understanding of what I mean now. We could talk about combos. Now, let me preface this. I am not a combo guy. So what I'm going to show you is basic bread and butters that you probably have always seen. But my advice with combos before I start is do things that you are comfortable doing, that you know you can pull off. Let's say if some money was on the line, you can do this in your sleep without even thinking about it. A lot of people have a shaky foundation. They try to add the sauce on, and I'm like, but it looks tacky. You want to have the pasta first before you put on the sauce. You don't want to just have a bowl of sauce. You want to put that pasta in first, then you want to put the sauce. You want to have a solid foundation, add the sauce. You know, don't want to do too much too soon. Okay, so let's start off with a basic combo. So let's start off with hop kicks. $60 damage, right? Good combo, decent damage, decent wall carry. And on top of that, anytime you're in a throw with the Shining Wizard, you get +4, right? And it leads to an Oki situation, what I'll talk about in the minutes, right? You want to make sure that your Oki is solid as well, because King has a good Oki, but we're going to talk about combos right now. So another bread and butter that you're probably going to be using, especially if you're a beginner, something like this, right? 62 damage, 5 hits. A lot of people be like, well, that's not saucy, that doesn't have a lot of juice on it, you know. But it's not about the juice. The goal of playing a fighting game is to win. We don't play the game to fucking lose. I mean, we play the game for fun, but you don't play to lose. You want to win, and you want to, you know, win thoroughly. You know, like, I want you guys to like be the Tim Duncan of the Tekken first before you start trying to be MJ. Like, let's be Tim Duncan. Let's be fundamentally solid. And MJ is fundamentally solid. All great players like Kobe Bryant in basketball is fundamentally solid. I know I'm making basketball references in the Tekken game. Sorry. I know you guys don't really probably follow basketball like that, but fundamentals count first. So another combo that's a bread and butter for me is this. So really simple. Counter hit forward 1, another forward 1, down forward 3, jab forward 2-1. Pretty simple, pretty effective. Can't go wrong with it. Gives a lot of wall carry, right? Now, if you want to go for something difficult, which I'm probably going to fail, let's start off with something like, well, this is mainly the combo I use when I want to try something difficult, if I want some extra wall carry. So do a hop kick, do a micro dash, and then to that. But it's really hard to do. The timing is really strict. And it does 65 damage. 8 hits, 65 damage. Yeah, that combo got a little bit of sauce on it, but it's only 3 more damage than the 62 damage combo that I showed you first, and only 5 more damage than the original combo I showed you first. So I really feel like that combo isn't really useful unless you're comfortable doing it and you're trying to get that wall carry, right? And you want that Oki situation after you get to the wall. That's the only time I feel like that's acceptable. For the most part, you're going to be using the other combos I just showed you. Another bread and butter would be something like down back 3, wall 72-2, 65 damage, right? And I did all that other for the last combo and only got 65 damage. I just did this for 65 damage, right? So you don't want to try to overdo it. You want to just do what you're comfortable with. Another one is something like this. Seven. The forward 1 is a little tricky, but you can do it. It's not that hard. I'm pretty sure if you practice it long enough, you'll get it. It's a little fast. I'll tell you that up front if you need some help on it. Now let's talk about a little bit of combo routes. So sometimes you're gonna be at a wall of staging. There's no point in doing other enders, so you probably want to end with the most damaging ender, which is the Shining Wizard, right? But let's say you're already in the juggle state, right? So do something like, God damn it, that's hard. The timing. There. So 69 damage, very solid damage without a wall. You know, that's almost about a little bit over a third of the health bar. No, more than a third. About I'll say about almost half. About 11 damage to half. So that's pretty good. Another bread and butter combo that you're probably gonna be doing is this with wall. That did 695 without wall. That's going to be a little bit difficult though. Getting that instant Shining Wizard. There you go. 69 damage, pretty good, right? So that's the situation I'm talking about, where you already use your tail spin. So you don't get an easy tail spin like you do with the original bread and butter combo I showed you earlier, where you get the Shining Wizard easily. You have to do the instant Shining Wizard. It takes a bit of practice to get, but with no time, I'm pretty sure you guys will get it. I'm pretty sure you guys are pretty good at the game. Let's talk about Oki. Oki is one of the things you want to do after a combo anyway. Oki with King is fucking insane. Me personally, I am not that good with it. I prefer Kazuya, where it's just Hell Sweep or any kind of 4-4 or anything like that. But let's start up with the basics. Let's set the opponent to do like a get up kick or something. You know, something simple. Ground technique. Let's say wake up low kick, because everybody loves doing those, right? So let's say you do the bread and butter. And you're still in open space after the fact, or in this case the corner. For Oki, if they try to do get up 3, they get hit. All right. Same thing, I think, if you do down 4-1. So it shuts a lot of that stuff down, right? So let's try another one. See? So get up kicks are not really a good option when you're fighting against King, because again, as you see, it could get blown up really quickly. Another thing is get up 4. Get up 4 is a good tool that a lot of people like to get up with. I wouldn't say at high level is good, but there are several options with his Oki that you can deal with it. So I'm gonna go set up a wake up mid kick. So same situation, ending a combo with the Shining Wizard. That's what an Oki happens, because you're a +4. So you can do the same thing, down 4-1, beats it. You can block it. And you can punish with back 1-2, or if you're fast enough on the finger, you can parry it. Now the good thing about King's parry, right, as it leaves them in a situation where they cannot chicken that, it is guaranteed. So in a situation like that, and you saw the plus frames after it, right? So this is where doing get up kicks is fucking lethal if you don't want to live long against King. All right, he does that. All right, he follows up with more stuff. So it gets pretty tricky with King's Oki. You don't want to press too many buttons, and again, he has quick solid mids that'll check you if you try to press buttons on wake up. He doesn't really have a lot of options for side rollers. He can grab you out of a side roll, but he doesn't have a lot of options for it. So you want to be kind of careful if you're going against King. If you are King, abuse them for being stupid, and you know, optimize on the Oki. I'm pretty sure you can find more things in the lab by looking up people like Lil Majin and things of that nature. But this is just basics, you know, things that'll get you give you a solid foundation of what you want to do. Let's talk about punishment. We already talked about Oki, poking, throws. Let's talk about some punishment. King's punishment is relatively solid. At 10 frames, he gets 1-2. At 10 frames, he also gets 2-1, as I showed you before. And as again, going back to everything goes full circle. Remember, after these, you can either use mids or you can use throws. But I prefer to use mids first, and then you can open up the throws later on to, you know, keep the opponent in check and keep him scared. At 12 frames, he gets the great back 1 +5. I can show you this in real time by actually setting the computer up for a hop kick, which I'm going to do now. So let's go ahead and record something. All right, that should do it. So a hop kick is fine. So at 10 frames, he gets 1-2, 2-1. 12, he gets at 12 he gets back 1-2. At 13, I forgot what he gets. That's 18. 13, he gets magic 4. That's +6. So good punish. So good chunk of damage, as you can see. That's 20 damage. At 14, he gets let's see, what move did I know that's I'll have to do the string. At 14, he gets back 2-1, which is really good. He gets a knockdown. At 15, you know he gets the great hop kick. And that's the standard stuff you're going to be using with King as far as that. As far as his punishment, pretty simple. He's not like the most super punishing technical character, but he can make it hurt. While standing punishment wise, he gets let's go with down back 3. Oops, my bad. That's definitely down back 4. So with down back 3, he gets while standing 4 for 11 frames. At 10 frames, he gets while standing 1. At 14 frames, he gets 2-2. And at 18 frames or higher, he gets he gets a launcher. So his while standing punishment is not the best in the world, but it can definitely get you by. Me personally, I prefer to just utilize the same tools I've been utilizing before and keep him at bay. But again, with his punishment, even though you're like, well, it doesn't do like Kazuya level damage, most of his punishment gives you either a knockdown or heavy frame advantage, where you can absolutely start connecting with your lows and throws and start harassing your opponent. So we're about to wrap it up. It's not much to go over now. It's just pretty much the rage drive and the rage art. His rage art is pretty standard, nothing really much to write home about. But his rage drive, on the other hand, is absolutely insane. So I'm going to bring the computer back to normal, and I'm going to put on rage so I can show you what I'm talking about. Put on my rage. The rage, this move, is an all-purpose rage drive, right? Combo starter, and I dropped it. God, I'm bad at this game. So, something simple. I'm just gonna keep it really simple. Let me see. $71. You can do a lot more damage. All right, a lot more. Of course, you do it mid combo as well. Oops, sorry. A lot of damage, 75. Guaranteed follow up, but if you want a guaranteed hit, you probably would go with the People's Elbow. Oh my god. DualShock controllers suck. I'm gonna be honest with you. They suck. So that's guaranteed. Even though it doesn't give you a guarantee, it doesn't show combos, it's guaranteed. 76 damage. So that's what you're gonna do if you want to get the kill. If you want to set up for more situations, you will probably, or more damage, but you know you won't get the kill, but you just want to go for the damage, you can go for a throw. But that's typically what you would be doing. On block, this move is monstrous. I think it's +6 on block. Yeah, +8 on block. And again, as always, it's a strong mid, and you can set up your throws by buffering in your inputs, right? So that about covers it with the rage art, the rage drive, the poking, the oki, the combos, all the things you need to be a good player with King, or a solid player with King. And you can always expound on this more by going to the lab. This is just to get your foot in the door. So we're about to wrap this up, guys. I want to thank you guys for, you know, watching this tutorial all the way through. We hit the 1,000 subscribers finally. Thanks to all of you guys for support. Love that y'all support my guide so much. My gen guide just hit 13,000 a couple of days ago. I definitely appreciate that. We are now officially partnered with YouTube, so that'll be great if you guys check out the videos. I'm sorry for all the ads, but I still need to get paid too. So that's one thing. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share the video. Give me your thoughts. What do you think about the guide? Honest thoughts. You don't have to be like it's great when it's not, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty decent. I mean, I use these things all the time, and it got me to a region so far, and this is with minimal effort. So I'm pretty sure this guide can take you guys to Emperor and higher if you just use it correctly, and you know, take your time and try to use a well thought out game plan. There will be more content coming soon. I want to thank you guys again so much for, you know, watching this video and just watching my channel overall and supporting me throughout the year. So thank you so much. I'll see you guys next time. I appreciate your service, and peace.